Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, Meathead.
The government has an opening for a section of a freeway. You talk to your contractor, and he's like, well, it's going to cost me $2.5 million to build it. And then you want to put in...
No, it's not going to cost you anything.
No, not me. It's going to cost the government $2.5 million to build it. Obviously, you want...
No, you got to ask backwards. Okay, a bridge collapses in Delaware on the way to your mansion. You know, you and Biden over there. Okay, it collapses. And it's going to cost $50 million to repair. Okay? And the first local municipality, whoever's there, is going to want to circle that and have it. So he wants to put it out to bid because he wants to take credit in the community for building the fucking thing or rebuilding it, okay? But depending on where it is in Delaware, it will go open bid. Open bid. And the local guys normally have lever to get the contract, okay? But let's just eliminate the local guys for a moment. Mainly because right now, it's election year. Let's say this is 6 months ago, not so close to the election. And they don't want anything tainted that they steered the contract to somebody that shouldn't have got it. Now, let's just say for purposes, it's a Delaware deal. The state government of Delaware, okay? Which I don't know how many contracts they have a day, but, the federal government has 10 million. Let's just say they have, 500 a week or some amount of number. The paperwork, well, not paperwork. Now it'll be listed on a bid list on the state website, and you got to scroll through to find this shit. And it'll say, let's say that it's the 1st of November, and the bids are open until the 10th of November. Okay, so the people in that business are running through those websites, so they know. So they've got people that can bid on it. Okay, now here you are over here wanting to get in on that gravy train. So you will have gone along to probably guys you went to school with, probably guys you played tennis and golf with, okay? And and they have 8A giveaway 15% programs. You want to get on that list. You want to get on the state list, okay? And depending on the state, some state lists just allow you without saying who your joint venture partner is, who the other principal is. Some say they want to know, so they have some sort of validation that you can get this shit done. ABC bridge building since 1563 in Delaware, But most of them, you don't have to list the other part, just you. But you've already warmed up these guys, just like warming up the banks. So when they come back and you get a thing in the email to submit a bid, well, you're off to your buddy that you went to high school with and say, will you still do this? And assuming that he's a good old boy, like he's a good old boy, they'll say yes. And so then when you enter the bid, you'll put down ABC and your name or your company's name are bidding. But a lot of times you'll actually get the deal without them asking you who the fuck's going to do the work. Because it's the government. Real business wouldn't do that. And so and your buddy that will tell you it's probably a $300 million job. We'd probably want to bid $400 million so we can make $100 million. Okay, and that's your decision to make whether you're going to do that. I would bid for your first deal as close to cost as your partner says he can do it. Because you want to get on the tit. You want to grab that nipple with your fucking molars. Okay? Because once you get on that fucking tit, it takes a nuclear bomb to get you off. Okay? And so let's say you put in $350 million. And they used to have to pick the top 3. They don't anymore. Now you can, depending on the parts of the United States, et cetera, depending on the scandals they've been, they can normally pick out of the top 8 or 10. They can pick one. And normally they pick first and 2 alternates. Because everybody that says they can perform doesn't necessarily whether they can perform or not. And they'll tell you now the contract, you've got 10 days to bid. The contract will probably start February 1st. Okay, now, fast forward, you're on the tit. You're doing that contract for that bridge that fell down, and now, and you're into it 2, 3, 4, or 5 weeks. In their mind, you're a performer. You have performed against the contract. So now you're open to, they can send you shit 5 times a day. 5 times, And I always said yes. I tell you to say yes, because I only had those 3 contracts. So say yes. And you're going to worry, well, how am I going to do it? You'll figure out a way. And you go back to your partner that you went to high school and played tennis with, where are these guys? And it won't be necessarily in bridge fixing. It can be anything. Because you're going to have to fill out a form and check, are you generally interested in everything, like a conglomerator, or you just want bridges, or you just want, highway maintenance, or you just want drainage, or whatever the shit. Now I tell you, because I didn't do it, everything. And then, I have, 8 or 10 guys that all they do is maintain government contracts. That's all they do. They don't do anything else. And they've gotten pretty fucking rich doing that. And the margins on the government contracts are exorbitant normally. Instead of 6%, 20%. Instead of 20, 40. And to the best of my knowledge, unless there's an investigation, unless somebody cries foul, nobody's looking at them. That's not a recipe to steal or anything. I'm just telling you, nobody looks at them. The famous Highway 105 that comes from downtown Los Angeles to the Los Angeles airport, Mayor Bradley, he used to be chief of police, and I knew him. He was a contemporary of my dad. It was supposed to cost $3.7 billion. This was back in the 60s, 70s. A straight arrow from downtown LA to LAX airport. The highway goes like this because Mayor Bradley paid back all the donors, black donors, that supported him during his political career, all the open space. So it's not a straight line. Everybody, and then they named a part of the airport after him on top of it, all that. And it took, instead of 3.5 or 3 billion, it cost 8.8 billion. But once you get on the government tit, it's, and again, going back, I would have stayed in government contracts longer. I could still be doing government contracts. Because some of the guys, the sons of the guys that I competed against are still on the tit. Today. I got the contracts 1981, 82, and 42 years later, they're still there. Yep.
Okay, so go back. The first deal, you want to be really low on your margin just to get on the tit.
Yeah.
And you said, instead of bidding 400, you said 315 or 350?
350.
315.
And now your partner's not going to want to do that. Here, I'm helping you. We've known each other all our life. Our kids went to school together. I got to make more money than that. So then, I'm not telling you to do this, but okay, you take 75% of the profit. I only take 25. Which I'm sure by looking at you that you're smart enough to figure that out without me telling you. And so then you soothe him. But then when you come to the second, third, fourth, fifth, you don't need this guy. So then you got to make a moral decision. You keep him, or do you kick him into the Delaware? It's on the ocean, right, Delaware? You kick him into the water. I'll leave that to your own morality. I know pretty much how most of you are going to, what you're going to do. Okay, continue.
Are you talking about the partner you added into your corporation?
No, I'm talking about the partner, the principal that's going to help you get this job because he actually does the work. Okay. In the back.
Are there some pretty qualified board of directors out there that specialize in
Absolutely.
government contracts?
We had, at the last board meeting, Kat, get me the guy, the government contract guy who just retired from the federal contract office. The guy that was in the last seminar. Okay? He sat right back where you are, Francisco. And he had a lot of answers during government contracts. And so on the one-on-one, and I saw him about halfway through, how come it's, and he didn't, that's not how he listed his current work status because he doesn't work there anymore. And I ran through, I wasn't detailed enough to see that he had spent 29 years doing exactly what I'm talking about. And so then I announced, and then the class was on him, sucking the mucus out of his nose. The class was on him, asking him questions, and he was a good guy about it. He answered questions. But I told him he wanted to go and roll up in a post office or some shit. And I said, are you sick? Something wrong with you? Based on the knowledge you have? And he says, there's thousands of us. Then I did a little work. He's right. There's thousands of them. But you want a big muckety-muck. The guy that ran logistics for the United States Air Force, the guy that ran logistics for the Southwestern United States, you want a big muckety-muck that is to be your chair. Now, everybody's not going to be an expert like that, but you need a lawyer that's done government contracts. You need an accountant that's done government contracts. And when you go to EY, you go to Deloitte, and you go to law firms, during the interviewing process, we're going to be rolling up government contracts. So we need the support for people that have actually rolled up government contracts. And they got them. And that's what Raymond has. Except Raymond then teaches, I don't need to explain that again, okay? Raymond then teaches them what they might not know. And you won't be there. You're just going to be like a sponge, listening and gathering up the information. And it's pretty easy. It's also pretty easy to do something bad because you're going to know, not immediately, but when you get these board members, they're going to know, nobody checks. Not nobody. I'm not suggesting you do that because nobody checks. There's no real checks and balances, but it's pretty fucking easy to figure this out. And so I'm not telling you to do that, but I mean, it's easy to go over to the dark side. And there's a lot of people that get blackballs from government contracts. And some guys start at city, county, go to municipality, go to state, and all the way up to the federal, or whatever the level they call it in Canada or the UK or whatever. And they always pay. And they're not friendly. They're generous with margin. I'll put it that way. They're generous. Not like 800 million for the 300 million. They're not that generous. But it's easier to make 50% margin on contracts. Anything else? See that old high school buddy of yours is going to come in handy. Oh, fuck. Okay, I'll see you the 5:30, the 6 and the 6:30. Tonight's your goals. You're also going to see a movie on Andrew Carnegie, my idol, and why he's never gotten any awards here in Britain for all the money that he's... when you go to Dunfermline, where he's from, it's hard to go a block without his name on the street, on the library, on the school, on the hospital, because he gave a lot of money back to that portion of Scotland. But he did write a book. But it's interesting. For those of you that are interested, Google Andrew Carnegie fraud and Think and Grow Rich fraud, because he never met that kid to write the book. And he kept it from getting published until after he was dead. And there was no meeting on Nob Hill in San Francisco. There's no record of Andrew Carnegie and the Andrew Carnegie museum shit of him ever meeting. And when I was at Skibo Castle, there's no records of that. That's a fig Newton of somebody's imagination. But the book's still good. He never met 500 of the richest people that Mr. Carnegie was going to introduce him to. But I mean, it's more or less legendary now. It was true that the little shit that wrote the book was a thief, went to jail, abandoned his first son when he was born with no ears, was a robber. All that's true. That's documented. but him meeting Mr. Carnegie and meeting all these rich people is nobody can document it. But it's still a good book. Your hand was up? Okay. See you later, kids.